Have you ever wondered why you keep attracting the same type of person? The one who seems perfect at first, then slowly becomes emotionally distant? Or maybe you're the one who pulls away just when things get real. You tell yourself it's just bad luck, but deep down, you know there's a pattern. What if I told you that your nervous system is running a program written when you were 7 years old? That every time you fall in love, you're not just choosing a partner, you're unconsciously recreating the emotional landscape of your childhood. Your attachment patterns are like old maps. They helped you survive when you were small and powerless, but now they're guiding you through adult relationships with outdated information, and the territory has completely changed. Here's what most people don't realize. Your brain can't tell the difference between familiar and healthy. When someone triggers that old recognizable feeling, the same emotional frequency you knew as a child, your nervous system whispers, "This is home," even when home was chaos. Think about it. The person who makes your heart race might not be exciting you. They might be activating your fight or flight response. The butterflies in your stomach? Sometimes they're not love. They're anxiety wearing a romantic mask. 3 signs your attachment system is sabotaging your relationships. First sign, you're drawn to people who are emotionally unavailable, then exhaust yourself trying to get them to care. You mistake the struggle for passion, confusing the anxiety of pursuit with the depth of connection. Your nervous system learned early that love requires effort, that affection is something you earn through persistence and perfect behavior. Second sign, when someone is genuinely available and consistent, you feel bored or suffocated. Their stability doesn't compute with your internal programming. You might find yourself creating trauma or looking for problems that don't exist, because calm love feels foreign and somehow wrong. Third sign, you swing between being clingy and being distant, never finding that middle ground. One day you need constant reassurance, the next you're building walls. You're not indecisive. You're caught between 2 competing survival strategies your younger self developed. This isn't your fault. Your attachment system was doing its job, keeping you safe in whatever environment you found yourself in. If love came with conditions, you learned to meet conditions. If closeness meant getting hurt, you learned to keep people at arm's length. If attention was scarce, you learned to work harder for it. But here's the thing about childhood programming. It doesn't update itself. Your nervous system is still running on old software, scanning for threats that may not exist anymore and missing opportunities for connection that are right in front of you. The truth is, your nervous system doesn't care about your happiness, it cares about your survival. And sometimes what kept you alive as a child is exactly what's killing your relationships as an adult. Let me share something that might shift how you see this whole pattern. Your brain has what researchers call neural pathways. Think of them as well-worn trails in a forest. Every time you walked the same path as a child, dealing with inconsistent love or emotional chaos, you carved that trail deeper. Now, decades later, your feet still know exactly where to step. When you meet someone new, your brain doesn't ask, "Is this person good for me?" It asks, "Do I know how to navigate this emotional territory?" And if the answer is yes, if their emotional unavailability feels like a language you're fluent in, you mistake that familiarity for compatibility.
Maybe your parent was loving but unpredictable. Now, when your partner is having a quiet day, your body floods with the same panic you felt at age 6, waiting to see which version of mom or dad would walk through the door. You're not overreacting, you're having a completely logical response to old data. Your system is saying, "Last time someone went quiet on me, I got abandoned," even though your partner just had a long day at work. Here's the first technique that can help you interrupt these patterns in real time. When you feel that familiar surge of anxiety in your relationship, the one that makes you want to text them again or start an argument or withdraw completely, pause. Don't act on the feeling yet. Instead, ask yourself, how old do I feel right now?
This isn't about analyzing your childhood, it's about recognizing when your adult self has handed the wheel over to your 7-year-old self. Because that younger version of you is brilliant at survival, but terrible at partnership. Take 3 deep breaths and remind yourself, I am safe now. This person is not my parent. This moment is not that moment. You're literally updating your internal software in real time. The second technique involves understanding the difference between love and emotional dependency. Real love, the kind that actually works, doesn't feel like drowning. It doesn't require you to lose yourself or fix someone else. Healthy love feels more like coming home to yourself, not escaping from yourself. If you find yourself thinking about someone constantly, needing to know where they are every moment, or feeling like you can't function without their attention, that's not love. That's your attachment system in overdrive, confusing intensity with intimacy. Here's a reality check that might sting a little. If you're constantly worried about losing someone, you're not in love with them. You're in love with the idea that keeping them proves you're worthy of love. Your attachment system has turned relationships into a test you're desperately trying to pass. But love isn't a test.
Love is what happens when 2 people feel safe enough to be themselves, messy parts and all. It's not about proving your worth. It's about sharing your worth with someone who already sees it. Now let me tell you something the ancient Stoics understood that modern dating culture completely misses. Epictetus taught that suffering comes from expecting people to be different than they are. Most relationship pain isn't about what your partner did or didn't do. It's about the gap between who they actually are and who you need them to be to feel safe. When you love someone, you're not trying to turn them into your personal anxiety medication. You're not asking them to heal wounds they didn't create or fill voids they didn't empty. You're loving them as they are, not as a project to be completed. This doesn't mean accepting bad treatment. It means releasing people from the impossible job of being your emotional regulator. Because when you put that pressure on someone, even the most loving person will eventually feel suffocated and pull away. Here's something that might transform how you approach relationships. Start paying attention to how your body feels when you're with different people. Not the excitement, not the drama, not the butterflies, but the deeper sense of ease or tension. Do you feel like you can breathe fully around them? Do you find yourself editing your thoughts before you speak? Are you performing a version of yourself, or are you just yourself? Your nervous system knows the difference between safety and familiarity, even when your mind doesn't. Safety feels calm, grounded, spacious. Familiarity might feel intense and consuming, but it often comes with an underlying current of anxiety. The people who are good for you might not feel exciting at first, because your system associates excitement with uncertainty. But pay attention to how you feel after spending time with them. Do you feel more like yourself or less? Do you feel depleted or restored?
Sometimes the right person feels boring because they're not activating your childhood survival strategies. They're just there, being consistent and kind, and your nervous system doesn't know what to do with that much safety. Here's a practice that can help you rewire these old patterns. Every morning, before you check your phone or reach out to anyone, spend 2 minutes connecting with yourself. Place your hand on your chest and ask, how am I feeling right now? What do I need today? This isn't about meditation or spirituality. It's about remembering that you exist independently of other people's attention or approval. Most people with anxious attachment patterns have lost touch with their own emotional baseline. They're so focused on reading other people's moods and adjusting accordingly that they forget they have their own internal compass. This simple practice helps you remember that you're a whole person, not half a person looking for completion. When you know how you feel and what you need, you stop expecting your partner to be a mind reader. You stop punishing them for not filling needs they don't even know you have. You start showing up as yourself instead of as a collection of unmet childhood needs. And here's something beautiful that happens when you do this work. You stop attracting people who need to be fixed, and you stop being attracted to people who see you as a project. You start gravitating toward people who appreciate your wholeness, not your brokenness. The goal isn't to never feel anxious in relationships. Anxiety is part of being human, part of caring about someone. The goal is to feel the anxiety without letting it drive the car. To notice when your 7-year-old self is having a panic attack and gently remind them that you're safe now. Remember, your attachment patterns aren't personality flaws. They're survival strategies that worked brilliantly when you were small. But you're not small anymore. You have resources now that you didn't have then.
You have choices your younger self couldn't imagine. The person who hurt you in childhood isn't in the room anymore. The person you're with now isn't responsible for healing those old wounds. And you're not responsible for being perfect to earn love. You never were. Love, real love, doesn't ask you to be smaller or bigger than you are. It doesn't require you to chase or hide. It just asks you to be present, to be honest, and to remember that you're already enough. As the Stoics understood, the only person you can control is yourself. The only relationship you can truly heal is the one you have with yourself. When you stop trying to control how others love you and start focusing on how you love yourself, everything changes. Your attachment patterns brought you this far, but they don't have to take you the rest of the way. You can honor where you came from while choosing where you're going. You can feel grateful for your survival strategies while gently updating them for the life you want to build. The love you're looking for isn't found in someone else's approval or consistency. It's found in your own willingness to stay present with yourself, especially when it's uncomfortable. It's found in your courage to choose connection over control, vulnerability over certainty. What if the love you've been seeking everywhere else has been waiting for you to come home to yourself? What if the person who's been missing from your relationships is you? Take a moment today to check in with yourself. Notice how you feel without trying to change it. Notice what you need without immediately reaching for someone else to provide it. Notice that you're here, you're whole, and you're worthy of love that doesn't require you to earn it. Your younger self did an incredible job keeping you alive. Now it's time to let your adult self teach you how to truly live.